Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. All glories to the assembled devotees worldwide who are joining us here at the Prabhupada Disciples Association weekly class on the Bhagavad-gītā As It Is. And I want to thank all of you for participating with us in this program. Not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. So we consider that all of you are joining us because Krishna has made this arrangement. This is very important for all of us to understand that everyone has a destiny. This is not a matter of chance. And the circumstances behind this class and its development, along with our association, the Prabhupada Disciples Association, is not a matter of chance. This is a destiny. And people should respect this. This isn't something that just happened. But Krishna is behind this, absolutely. And so is Prabhupada. Actually, we have many devotees here who have had many years of experience in Krishna consciousness, have been through many rodeos, many people in understanding how Prabhupada worked to spread this movement. We're not concocting a philosophy here. We're representing a truth. And this truth is that Prabhupada is present in his Vani incarnation. And by listening to him in his unadulterated books, we'll get great benefit from this process of Krishna consciousness. So I'm going to read something to you that I put up on the Prabhupada Disciples Association Facebook page. That's had quite a bit of response. I think we've had a couple of thousand views of it. When followers of a particular religious group change the teachings of its founder, it's called heresy. Such heretics are condemned by the true members of such a religious group. In the ISKCON group, they have made thousands of changes to our founder's books. These American devotees behind it have altered the books to justify their ambitions for material profit, adoration, and distinction. Anyone who wants to make advancement should be mindful of that fact, and this is a great offense. In many ISKCON temples, they don't allow the original books to be studied or used in their lecture programs. They are also called Ritvik books. Please know this is Maya at the highest level of material mental speculation. Srila Prabhupada is referenced here for your understanding. Quote, Srila Prabhupada, in the scriptures, just like the Christians, they are changing the words, but you cannot do that. Then where is the authority? If you change the word of the scripture, then where is the authority of the scripture? Just like in law books, there's some law made already. Whimsically, you cannot, erase the words and put something that it should be changed like this. This will not be accepted. Law, if there is change, actually there is no change. There cannot be change. Real law means there is no change. Just like day and night, it is coming. The fortnight, the dark period and the light period, it is coming for millions and millions from time immemorial. The same law is going on. You cannot change. So as soon as you change, that means it is imperfect. You've changed it. This is from a lecture from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, third chapter, verse 15, in Los Angeles on September 20th, 1972. So this is a directive from Srila Prabhupada in terms of his books, not to change them. And we specifically make this point. We have two main points. One is that we do not agree with the change books that are being used in ISKCON. In fact, in Gopal Krishna's zone, they took out all the original books of Srila Prabhupada and put in the edited books. One devotee did it. Created quite a controversy in India. Unfortunately, the devotee that did it got a disease and died. So I'm not saying it's directly related, but offenses against devotees and offenses against the pure devotee and his instructions are dealt with in a very serious manner by Krishna. I've seen this myself, and I know many of us have seen this over the years, the karma that comes down when you commit offenses. So one should be very careful in understanding that offenses can destroy your devotional creeper. And the fact of the matter is, this association is about protecting Prabhupada's legacy. This is not just some kind of a session where we get together and have a talk. No, this is a mission. We're on a particular mission. We have a lot of service that we're developing, and just before I finish, I want to let you know that our Prabhupada Disciples Association media team is working forward with a lot of exciting programs for not only for Prabhupada TV, but for production on a global level to give people a proper understanding of how the mission of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada has deviated in two ways. One, they've appointed elected gurus, which has never been a system that Prabhupada wanted in our mission. You don't become an elected guru. You're a guru based on your realization. You're a guru based on your surrender and your commitment to the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya and to Srila Prabhupada. That makes you knowledgeable, and you can share that with others. And two, the changing of the unadulterated books of Srila Prabhupada. That is a very important issue that all of us have to be committed to as a group globally. So these are things to think about during the week while you carry on with your devotional service in your local area, and you bless yourself that you're a member of the Prabhupada Disciples Association and all of the wonderful devotees that are participating in this group by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya. Vincent, please, if you could, please bring on the chanting of Radha Madhava. I've reached my time, and we'll carry on with the class with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasoda-nandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Ramacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Girivardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shcham Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Raghunathan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Sham E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome everyone to this Bhagavad-gītā reading and discussion. Today we will be reading from Bhagavad-gītā chapter 7, text number 14 and part of number 15. This is a reading from the original non-edited, non-adulterated version, the 1972 Macmillan version. All synonyms, translation, and purports and explanations by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Page 379, text 14. Devi Hyesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mamivaye Prapadyanti Mayamitam Tarantiti. Devi, transcendental, he certainly, Isha, this, Gunamayi, consisting of the three modes of material nature, Mama, my, Maya, energy, Duratyaya, very difficult to overcome, Mam, unto me, Eva, certainly, Ye, those, Prapadyanti, surrender, Mayametam, this illusory energy, Taranti, overcome, Te, they. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. This divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entities are part of his energies and are therefore divine, due to contact with material energy, their original superior power is covered. Being thus covered by material energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. The living entities belong to the inferior nature, matter. Their illusion is also eternal. The conditioned soul is therefore called Nitya Baddha, or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult. Even though that material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the supreme will, which the living entity cannot overcome. Inferior material nature is defined herein as divine nature due to its divine connection and movement by the divine will. Being conducted by divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestation. The Vedas confirm this as follows: Mayam tu prakritim vidyan, mahinam tu maheshwaram. Although Maya illusion is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead, who is Maheshwara, the supreme controller. Another meaning of guna is rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be helped by a person who is unbound, because the bound cannot help the bound. The rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna, or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of illusory energy, can order this insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the surrendered soul and out of his paternal affection for the living entity who is originally a beloved son. Hold on. He ordered this release out of his causeless mercy on the surrendered soul and out of his paternal affection for the living entity who is originally a beloved son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material nature. The words Mam, Eva are also significant. Mam means unto Krishna, Vishnu only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajaguna, passion, and Tamoguna, ignorance, to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya. Therefore, he can alone give release to the conditioned soul. The Vedas confirm this in the phrase, Tvameva viditva, or freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirms this, affirms that liberation can be achieved only by the mercy of Vishnu. Lord Shiva says, Mukti pradasarvesham Vishnureva na samshayah. There is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everyone. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We offer our respectful obeisances unto our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, who has opened my eyes from the darkness of ignorance, who has opened our eyes with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Srila Prabhupada is bringing out many very important points in this particular text. Krishna himself is explaining how this material nature, Krishna says, Devi Hyesha Gunamayi, that this material nature consisting, this divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature, Mama Maya Duratyaya, is difficult to overcome. So the question naturally comes, well, if it is difficult to overcome, how to overcome it? How to go beyond it? Krishna also explains, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. We see further on in the Bhagavad-gītā, in chapter 18:66, Krishna says that if you surrender unto me, Masuchaha, do not worry, I will take care of everything. In another part of the Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna explains, Ananyas chintayanto mam, ye janaha paryupasate, tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. That for those who are surrendered unto me, I carry what they have and protect what they lack. In other words, Krishna protects those who surrender to him, who tries to surrender to him, or engage in the path of devotional service. Krishna is very kind to his devotees. One of Krishna's name is called Bhaktavatsal, who is very dear to the devotees, who protects the devotees. There's another expression. Krishna is known as Bhavagrahi Janardana, one who sees simply the good side of the devotees. We see in various scriptures, Puranas, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavad-gītā, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, there are so many descriptions and vivid examples of devotees who are protected by the kindness of the Lord, by the mercy of the Lord. How this mercy is manifested in this world, it is not so easy to understand because everybody is bewildered by the influence of Maya. Prabhupada explains in the first paragraph, the living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of the Lord, but due to contamination by the inferior nature, matter, their illusion is also eternal. The conditioned soul is therefore called Nitya Baddha, or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Now, I know that many times various devotees like to engage in this topic, where do the living entities come from? How do they go back to the spiritual world? What happened when they reach the spiritual world? Of course, Srila Prabhupada has made many statements at different times to different individuals on this topic. But it's important to note what Prabhupada is saying here. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. There is a verse in Bengali, Anadi Karama Phale, that the karma of the living entities is beginningless. It has gone on since time immemorial. It's not one can say, well, it happened 5 months ago, 5 yugas ago, 5 million years ago. No, one cannot trace this. And every time this topic was brought up to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, his first remark, well, why don't you try to get out of it instead of worrying how you fell in it? Prabhupada would often give the example, if you fall in the ocean, do you start speculating, how did I fall? Did I slip? Did somebody push me? Did the railing break? No, you fell in the ocean, just trying to get out. If somebody throws you a rope to get out, you don't refuse it and tell him, well, I'm busy thinking how I fell in here. That's not logical. So that mercy of Krishna, of how to come out of the modes of material nature, is explained by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada says a very important point at the top of page 381. Says, the bound cannot help the bound. The rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna, or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Now, the question is how to get that help, how to get that release. That release is given by the mercy of the pure devotee, by the mercy of the Acharya. We sing every day as part of our spiritual practices, Janme Janme Prabhu se Divya Gyan Hride Prakashito. There's so many important fundamental tattvas or truths in that beautiful song. But the point is to get the mercy of the spiritual master. How do we get that mercy? Oftentimes in these classes, we keep referring to Prabhupada's Vani incarnation. Now, what does that mean? That means that the original, non-edited, non-adulterated writings of His Divine Grace have the power to liberate. This is the current mercy of the Acharya, that despite the fact that he's not physically here, he's still here through his writings, through his books. He's also here in this deity form, in his picture. And for those who are the sincere, non-motivated followers, he's also here. But more, like Prabhupada was once asked, what about, are you present in your picture? And Prabhupada replied, yes, I'm present in my picture, but I'm even more present in my books. I've often told the story that Srila Prabhupada was asked by one sannyasi in Calcutta, India, that the spiritual master, when he closes his eyes, what does he see? And Prabhupada chastised the devotee and says, that you do not need to ask. So the devotee persisted and say, well, Prabhupada, the pure devotee, when he closes his eyes, what does he see? Prabhupada says, yes, that is a good question. The pure devotee, when he closes his eyes, he sees the pastimes of Radha Krishna manifest in his heart 24 hours a day. That is the difference between the fully realized, fully liberated soul, the Uttamadhikari, topmost Mahabhagavat, and the sadhaka or practitioner, whether it be a third-class practitioner or a second-class practitioner. This is an important point because the mercy of the Acharya is still available. Simply one has to be willing to hear properly. Then one can understand. Then one can see. Recently, I had one devotee ask me, well, why did Krishna allow so many disturbances in his movement? And my reply was, well, have you found out from Prabhupada what he says? Have you carefully read Srila Prabhupada's books to explain what he says? Have you followed the instruction of Srila Prabhupada with regards to the proper sadhana, to the proper chanting, to the proper surrender, to the proper spiritual practices, and followed that? In other words, the answers are there. For example, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Adi Lila, chapter 12, Srila Prabhupada Krishna Das Kaviraj describes how some of the followers of Advaita-Ācārya deviated. Just this last week, we were celebrating some celebration on the exalted Advaita-Ācārya, an eternal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yesterday, we celebrated the appearance of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Nityananda Trayodasi, very special day. So in those explanations given in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see that the explanation is as Devena Karena, that this was the arrangement of providence. Sometimes there are things that we cannot understand with our limited conditioned mind, with our troubled mind. Simply want us to accept the reality. Of course, there are explanations due to the influence of Maya. Sometimes even such great personalities who are in the family of a great liberated soul will also become bewildered, unfortunately. This is all Krishna's arrangement. Krishna gives the living entity always a chance. He does not force the independence. Just like in the Bhagavad-gītā, we will see later on in chapter 18. Krishna explains to Arjuna, Yatet chasi tata kuru. I've explained everything to you. Now you make the decision. You choose. And he warns him that if you do not choose properly, bewildered by false ego, then there is suffering. But if you accept the conclusion of Krishna, the advice of Krishna and his bona fide representative, the pure devotee, then you will understand. Often people say, well, you people are preaching a bogus idea that Prabhupada can accept disciples. Yes, he can accept disciples, even now, according to his instructions in 1977. How he accepted the disciple, that they have no brain to understand. Krishna can act through his devotees, through his representatives, by those who follow the instruction of the Acharya, by those who follow the instruction of the pure devotee. There was one conversation in 1977 where one of the devotees was raising the issue that we simply want to act through you, Prabhupada, for you and through you. Prabhupada said, yes, you do like that. You act on my behalf. A devotee never thinks that I'm doing this on my own behalf, by my own power, by my own desire. No, he simply acts as an instrument. If we look at Srila Prabhupada's poetry on the Jaladuta, in 1965, when they left Calcutta, Prabhupada wrote some very deep, very powerful poetry expressing his devotional sentiments. It is quite amazing to see how such an exalted personality who left at the advanced age that he was, with practically penniless, yet 2 trunks of books, 40 rupees, which is not enough for getting at practically anything in America. And he left on the boat, suffered 2 heart attacks, but yet he was completely fixed on Krishna. Some of you may have seen that painting that Gargamuni Prabhu, Gargamuni Maharaj commissioned. There's a picture of Prabhupada on the Jaladuta and he's laying down and Krishna is massaging his head. This is what we discuss. Ananyas chintayanto mam yajanaha paryupashate tesham nitya viyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Krishna was protecting Srila Prabhupada 24 hours a day. Why? Because he was fully engaged in fulfilling the mission of his spiritual master. Fully engaged. Just like last week, we were discussing about a so-called Swami who publicly criticized Rupa Goswami in his description of Lord Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead with 100% of the qualities of Godhead. And we rename him Ajnana Ananda, ignorant, ignoramus. He obviously has not studied the book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu or Nectar of Devotion, and he's making big comments criticizing Rupa Goswami. Just see the foolishness. Ignorance. There's an old saying in Sanskrit, Ajnanam Anandosti. For some foolish people, ignorance is bliss. He's quoting the Vedas. There's so many things in the Vedas. What about this quote, Mr. Swami? Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yuvidadati Kaman from the Katha Upanishad.
Unknown caller.
He's the supreme eternal amongst all the eternals. He provides for all the living entities. He's a person. He's a transcendental person. We see in the Brahma Samhita, or Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, is describing what does God look like? What does Krishna look like? Venum Kwanantam Aravindam Dalaya Taksam. Like that, he's describing the perfect form of Krishna. So many accurate descriptions. The planet of Krishna, the activities of Krishna, the agents of Krishna, the demigods, the material nature. We see here in the Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna is giving some nice explanation that those who are surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braj. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masuchaha. Masuchaha means don't worry. I've got your back. Krishna is explaining to the devotees. I've got your back. It's under control. So many places in Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna explains how he protects the devotees. But there's one stipulation. Why does Krishna describe the Bhagavad-gītā to Arjuna? Why? He says, because you are not envious of me. Those who are envious of Krishna, those who try to deny Krishna, those who try to decry Krishna, those who refuse to admit the superiority of God, those people will never understand. They're condemned by their foolishness, by their ignorance. We see in human society, there's great propaganda amongst so many people to bring in non-religious, non-Vedic principles about marriage, about relationships between men and women, about birth of children. There's propaganda for infanticide, propaganda to kill children in the womb. So much nonsense propaganda is going on because of the influence of the three modes of nature, specifically the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance. And this is a very important point. We see that Srila Prabhupada, in one lecture given in Vrindavan on September 19th, 1975, Srila Prabhupada is explaining what is that influence? What is that influence of the material energy? I will read from this text. This is a very important point. Just 1 second here. Srila Prabhupada explains that particular verse from Bhagavad-gītā. He says that the certain section, they say that why God will come. God has no business to come here. So these rascals, they do not know why God will not come. Is he your father's servant that you think God cannot come? Therefore, God cannot come? You can think in your way, but God is fully independent. Whenever he likes, he can come. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Just to show the example, why God should be restrained not to come. He's not God. If God is restrained by us, by our speculation, by our imagination, that is not God, that is dog. A dog can be restrained. Don't come here. Why God can be restrained? So there is no reason. He says freely that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. Bhagavad-gītā 4:7. He wants. We are part and parcel of God, just like sons are part and parcel of the Father. If the Father is rich, man, all powerful, he does not like to see that his sons are loitering in the street without any food, without any shelter. He doesn't like. Father entreats, my dear son, why you're watching in this way? Come home, you'll be comfortable, you'll be happy. But these rascal sons will not go. They are thinking, we shall make plan here and live peacefully. That is going on. And God is coming. Krishna is coming, canvassing. Come back to home, back to Godhead. And we are not interested. We are making plan here. This is our misfortune. But this plan will be frustrated. That is the nature's law. Devi Hyesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Bhagavad-gītā 7:14. Whatever plan you make, it will be frustrated. It will never be successful. Therefore, Shastra says, Bahirartamaninaha Nativitu Spartagatim hi Vishnum. Srimad Bhagavatam 7:531. Where is the destination of life? They do not know it. Natividuhu. These rascals, those who have come to this material world, they do not know where is the goal of life because they are rascal, muda, naradama. Krishna is canvassing. Give up all this nonsense business. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. Bhagavad-gītā 1866. Nobody will hear. He will manufacture his own way. This is the disease. Why? Because under the spell of Maya. So to forget Krishna and to become subjected to the condition of material nature, that is called material life. Material life means to give up the idea of going back to home, back to Godhead, but making plan here to be happy. This is called Maya or material life. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada explains in various ways that our business is not to stay here. Our business is to go back home, back to Godhead. But the question will be, well, if we're going to get Krishna's mercy, can I get the mercy of Lord Shiva, the mercy of Lord Brahma, Vayu, Indra, Ganesh, Kali? There are so many different demigods who can give so many different benefits. In the Vedas, there are so many descriptions that if you worship this demigod, you'll get that benefit. You worship that demigod, you get this benefit. But Krishna says, you surrender unto me, you get the ultimate benefit. You'll be free from all this nonsense, free from all this suffering. Just like my brother-in-law in Canada the other day sent me a text describing the weather in Quebec, Canada. Very cold. I think our friend Vishwakarma Prabhu also knows. It's also very cold over there. Very cold. Can anybody stop that cold? Can anybody say, well, I don't like the cold. Let's turn it into nice weather. Make it 70 degrees Fahrenheit, nice and pleasant. No. You cannot change. It's like here in California, there are so many earthquakes. You can go on the internet and look at this usgs.com. You can see the earthquakes as they are happening. Can you stop them? Can you say, I don't like these earthquakes? Stop the earthquakes? No. There's a drought also for many years. So they have so much scientific advancement. Can they stop that drought? No, they cannot. Because this is the power of Maya. Mama Maya Duratyaya. It is very difficult to overcome. How to get out? Krishna explains here. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya. Therefore, he can alone give release to the conditioned soul. The Vedas confirm this in a phrase, Tvameva Viditvava. Freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. So this is the conclusion of the Shastras, the scriptures, and by taking shelter of the instruction and the non-adulterated teachings of a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, one can get the grace of Krishna and the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna. Vishwakarma Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. That was excellent, very inspiring to hear from a senior devotee of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda articulate our philosophy of Krishna consciousness and give us deeper insights into the process of devotional service. I wanted to, first of all, I'm going to read the text again from text 14. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. It's only by becoming a devotee of Krishna and cultivating the process of Krishna consciousness sincerely that you can understand who Krishna is. And this is possible under the guidance of the spiritual master. I wanted to read a section from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Text 30. If you could bring that up on the screen. O lotus-eyed Lord, by concentrating one's meditation on your lotus feet, which are the reservoir of all existence, and by accepting those lotus feet as the boat by which to cross the ocean of nescience, one follows in the footsteps of Mahajans, great saints, sages, and devotees. By this simple process, one can cross the ocean of nescience as easily as one steps over the hoofprint of a calf. We'll refer to the purport. Samshritaye pada palava phalam mahat padam punya yasho murare bhavam buddhir vatsa padam param padam 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 yadvipatam natesham. This is a very famous verse that Srila Prabhupada commonly quoted. For one who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation, and is famous as Murari, the enemy of the demon Mura, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a calf's hoofprint. His goal is Parampadam, or Vaikuntha, the place where there is no material miseries, not the place where there is danger at every step. This process is recommended here by authorities like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, Swayambhur, Narada, Sambhu, and therefore we must take to this process in order to transcend nescience. This is very easy, but we must follow in the footsteps of great personalities, and then success will be possible. In this regard, The word Mahat Kritena is also significant, that the process shown by great devotees is not only for them, but also for others. If things are made easy, this affords facility for the person who has made them easy, and also for others who follow the same principles. The process recommended in this verse for crossing the ocean of nescience is easy, not only for the devotee, but also for common persons who follow the devotee, Mahajano Yena Gata Sapanta. So, Lord Chaitanya has made this process very easy. Prabhupada explains through the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. If one can take this process up of chanting regularly every day, 16 rounds minimum, and by hearing the philosophy and association with other devotees under the direction of the spiritual master, this also enables us to grow our plant of devotion. This plant is a seed right now. It's growing. It's becoming more mature as we continue this process of hearing, chanting. And then Prabhupada said we should also take prasadam, this offering of food to Krishna, humbly and sincerely to God, to thank him for our subsistence through this prasadam, will enable us to have this prophylactic and antiseptic result. That's what prasadam or mercy is. That the mercy of prasadam is that it prevents you from committing sins in the future, and it purifies you of the sins you've committed in the past. So this is a very simple process: hearing, chanting, and taking prasadam. And if we were fortunate, we could be together like we were in past years and have kirtan, dance and chant together. This, unfortunately, has become more difficult because of circumstance. But nonetheless, this hearing and chanting and dancing and taking prasadam is our simple process of Krishna consciousness. Yaśodā-nandana, could you comment, please?
Yes, I think this is a very important point, because that verse that you have given there was often cited by Srila Prabhupada in many lectures and many conversations. And this is like a description of how to get out of the material world. You know, we can't do it by our own endeavor. As conditioned soul, the conditioned soul cannot get out by his own endeavor. Just like we just read in the Bhagavad-gītā purport, Prabhupada explains that the bound cannot deliver the bound. One who is bound up by the influence of material nature, the rescuer must be liberated. There's a very interesting purport in the Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 1, Chapter 13, Text 55, 1:1355, where Srila Prabhupada describes what is a pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada says, a pure devotee of the Lord does not live on any planet of the material sky, nor does he feel any contact with material elements. His so-called material body does not exist, being surcharged with the spiritual current of the Lord's identical interest. And thus, he's permanently freed from all contaminations of the sum total of the Mahatattva. He is always in the spiritual sky, which he attains by being transcendental to the sevenfold material covering by the effect of his devotional service. The conditioned souls are within the coverings, whereas the liberated soul is far beyond the cover. And this brings up a very interesting story. Prabhupada was in Los Angeles one time, and one reporter asked him, well, what do you think about Los Angeles? And Prabhupada put his head in the sky and he says, I'm not in Los Angeles, I'm in Vaikuntha. So this is the difference between the conditioned soul and the fully liberated soul. And this is very important because we often think that the conditioned soul like us, there is hope. We can get to that platform by following the path that has been given by the great acharyas like Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada's spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivedanta Thakur. It's quite significant when we analyze the method of preaching of all these last three great acharyas, that their whole missions were based on books, translating and publishing books, studying the books, telling their followers and disciples to study the books, and distributing the books, Briyat Mridanga propaganda. And this is the same mission of the Prabhupada Disciples Association. We're trying to revive this mentality, this consciousness for devotees to take this seriously and distribute Prabhupada's books. Some way or other, get some books and distribute them. This is very important. At this point, we cannot open it up if we have anybody that can give comment.
Yes, I'm going to call upon Nrsinga Das Parvat to please comment. Nrsinga, are you capable of speaking on the microphone to the class? Are you capable? Okay, we'll wait for him. Ram Raghava, please, if you could share your comments on the class for everyone as a Prabhupada disciple.
Sure. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I'd like to share something that Srila Prabhupada said about this particular verse, and then I would like to ask a question about something in the purport. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada would give practical examples in his own life also, and I always find that nectarian. So on September 8, 1969 in Hamburg, a devotee made a comment, a German devotee made a comment, I know so many people, young people, that when they see us chanting on the street, I can see their eyes, that they really want to chant also, but something is stopping them. Prabhupada, that is Maya. Maya is there. Therefore, Krishna says, the Maya is very strong. But if you capture Krishna more strongly, then Maya cannot do anything. If something is opposing your chanting, then you will have to chant more loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you defeat Maya. The medicine is the same. At least I do so. When I am in some danger, I chant Hare Krishna loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's all. Bhaktivedanta Thakur, there is song. Jai Sakal Vipad Bhakti Vinod Bole Jakhon Unam Gai. He says, as soon as I chant this Hare Krishna, I become immediately free from all dangers. So that was the wonderful thing that I found about this particular verse that Srila Prabhupada commented on. And then the question I had was, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajoguna and Tamoguna to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. So the question I had was, if you could please explain, if Lord Brahma is under the influence of Maya, how is it that he is the head of our Sampradaya, the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya? If you could please explain that.
Very nice. Very nice. Beautiful.
Could you please explain that, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, for our group?
Well, the influence of Maya is something very powerful, because we've seen that many devotees on the path of devotion sometimes also get influenced by Maya. But this is a different situation than somebody who has not accepted the path of devotion. For example, in the Nectar of Devotion, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Prabhupada explains that in order to take up the process of devotionals in this life, somebody has taken it up in a past life, Purva Janma. They have done this in a past life. That's why in this life, they're being given a chance to further progress on the path of devotional service, to make progress in becoming freed from the influence of the illusory energy Maya. And that chance is provided by the pure devotee who reconnects the devotee with the process of bhakti. Everybody knows the process. We've often described Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. There's 9 processes, but the most important process, the 2 most important processes are Shravanam, Kirtanam. This is how we can get out of Maya. That is the system. That is the process that has been given by the pure devotee, how the conditioned soul and the progressive devotee can get out of Maya. A very simple process. Any comments, remarks, questions?
We have another question from our Prabhu in India, Bala Ganesh. Bala Ganesh, could you bring forward
Yes,
your
Prabhu,
question?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Am I audible and
Audible.
clear? Am I audible and clear, Prabhu?
Yes, you are.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble wishes, Prabhu. Dandavat pranams. So, my question is like in the previous verses, Krishna in 7.12 and 13. So, Krishna is saying that Maya is made of 3 elements, Gunamayi, and he says, and he says here it is Daivi. Daivi means divine. So means Maya makes people do demoniac things and makes people drive away from Krishna towards bad things. So if Maya takes people towards wrong things, then why Maya should be considered divine? And also like it was told by Prabhupada in purport because it has connection with Krishna, connection with divine. But connection with divine means everything has connection with divine. But this particular point, like how Maya is to be considered as divine. There are 3 energies like internal energy, external energy, and separated energy. So this, why it is considered as divine? Divine means is it internal energy or separated energy? And how to consider this, Prabhu? Because Maya is the main reason for making people lusty, greedy, angry, right? So why it should be considered as divine?
Okay. Yaśodā, he's asking, why is Maya considered to be divine when it causes people to act in sinful ways? Please, if you could give us
This
an answer.
material world, Krishna's agent to punish and control the conditions called Durga. Durga means fort. Anybody who has seen picture, anybody in India who has seen picture of Goddess Durga, she rides on a lion. She has a trident with 3 Trishul. This is the modes of material nature, the mode of goodness, Sattva gun, the mode of passion, Rajagun, the mode of ignorance, Tamagun. This is the agent of Krishna for the rebellious conditioned soul to keep the conditioned souls in the material world. Just like the government sometime will appoint a very stern and strong person to handle the prison department for the criminals. Somebody will say, well, why is it if God loves us, why is there so much suffering? Well, why is there suffering in a prison house? The prison house is not a country club. It's not a golf club. It's a place of suffering. Why? Because you've been disobedient to the laws of the government, and the government is the prison house for the rebellious citizens, for the criminal citizen. Similarly, in the material world, the rebellious conditioned soul is put under the influence of the modes of nature by Durga, who is Krishna's agent, and inflicts these various miseries. We often discuss there's 3 basic fundamental kleshas or miseries. Adhyatmika klesha, miseries due to one's own body. Adibhautika klesha, miseries due to other bodies, other living entities, mosquitoes, different envious persons. In Adi-daivika klesha, miseries due to the influence of the demigods. So all of these miseries are under the control of Durga. She's inflicting the conditioned soul according to their entanglement in the modes of nature. That's why the first instruction of the Acharya is Tamasima Jyotirgamaya. Come out of this Maya. Come out of the darkness. Go to the light. Follow the proper path. Stop committing sinful activities. Then there will be release from the Maya. First, come out of living like an animal. Then follow the proper path. Then there will be relief from the influence of Maya. I hope it helps.
Yes, thank you.
So is this a
Yes, Prabhu,
Bahiranga
go
Shakti?
ahead.
Yes, Prabhu. It's
Please,
a
go
Bahiranga
ahead.
Shakti or Antaranga Shakti, Prabhu? Daivi Yesha Gunamayi. So this Daivi Shakti mentioned in this verse, is it?
I cannot hear what he's saying.
I'll translate it for you.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hold
Is it
on, go
All
ahead.
right.
Yes, Prabhu. So my question is like, I understood, Prabhu. So is this a Bahiranga Shakti or Antaranga Shakti? We have three energies: internal potency, marginal potency, and separated potency. So this Maya Shakti will come under Bahiranga Shakti, or as per the verse mentioned here, or Daivi Shakti or internal energy.
Does he's asking the question if Maya Devi, what energy does it come under? The internal energy or the external energy of Krishna, Yashoda?
It's the external energy of Krishna, but Durga is a powerful agent of Krishna. Krishna doesn't punish the conditioned souls directly himself. He keeps the conditioned souls under the influence of a material nature through the influence of Durga. That's why conditioned souls, it's very difficult to come out because of the false ego. That is the binding force. Maya means ma, not, ya, this. One is not thinking properly. One is thinking that the body, the Maya means that he's thinking that this material body is mine and the possessions are my own possession. This is the illusion. And this is the beginning of the false ego. Thinking I'm the body and this belongs to me, this belongs to them, and this is my nation, my this, my that. This is the influence of Maya. That is the basic misconception that everybody is functioning under.
Okay, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask one more question, Prabhu, or should I give a chance to others?
Just one second. I wanted to comment on your answer, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, about the prison house of the material world. Prabhupada discussed it. He said you can be a first class or a second class or third class prisoner in the prison house, but you're still a prisoner. You're just in different stages of confinement. But we are in the prison house of the material body as well, the city of 9 gates, and we reside here. Most of us live in the state of mental speculation or mental activity, because the mind is constantly thinking. That's the business of the mind, thinking, feeling, and willing. So the mind, it can either elevate us or degrade us depending on how we control the mind. And that control of the mind is contingent on our ability to follow the instructions of the spiritual master. He's the gatekeeper. In other words, he enables us to get out of this prison house of material life by taking up the transcendental process that was prescribed by Lord Chaitanya to liberate us out of this conditioned state. That's the state we're in. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. The fact is, we're all in this prison house of material existence. I certainly feel it with the trouble that I have with my material body every day. And it reminds me of that temporary state that I've been placed in this body, because time and tide wait for no man. No matter who you are, no matter what you think, no matter what you do on the material platform, you're going to die. That's the fact. And death does not have any discrimination. There's a famous poem by William Wordsworth that we learned in high school called Death the Reaper. That means every day she comes out to harvest her crop of human beings. She's harvesting everyone. So death is imminent for each one of us. And therefore, we should be very cautious how we use our time. The utilization of time is critical in Krishna consciousness. And that's why we're constantly stressing, or Prabhupada is stressing to all of us, engage your time in hearing and chanting about the glories of the Lord, Sri Krishna, both by rising and setting. The sun decreases the life of everyone except those who utilize the time for this engagement in the process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. This is the essence of our philosophy, the management of our time. And again, these classes that we are staging here are 3 times a week. It's not a lot of time, but it's some time. And we're hoping that everybody in the Prabhupada Disciples Association can appreciate the effort that's being made and also share this information, these classes, with other people so other people can get a benefit. Yaśodā-nandana, could you please comment?
I'm wondering if Narasimha Prabhu is still there and able to make comment there. Narasimha?
Yes, I'm here.
If you'd like to make a comment, Prabhu, welcome.
Excellent. Thank you.
Previously, I was shivering, so didn't want my voice to be shaky. Turned up the heat a little bit. But yeah, I'd like to make a comment on that question regarding Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. In the context of this comment by Srila Prabhupada, he's trying to emphasize the point that we only worship Vishnu or Krishna, and only Vishnu or Krishna can liberate us. He didn't go into any more details than that in this particular point. But later in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada very clearly says that Lord Brahma, at least our Lord Brahma in this Sampradaya, chief of our Sampradaya, is a fully liberated soul, as well as most of the residents of Brahma Loka. Similarly, Lord Shiva is known as the greatest of all Vaishnavas. So obviously he's a liberated soul. In fact, other places in Shastra, it says that one who sees a difference between Vishnu and Shiva is a Pashandi. He's not a proper person. So we have to see Brahma and Shiva in 2 capacities, one as devotees of Krishna and one as demigods. As demigods, they're within the modes of nature. But as liberated devotees, of course, they're far, far above modes of material nature. And of course, we know Brahma changes every kalpa. Lord Shiva is always the same, but Brahma changes. So there's some history in Shastra of even Lord Brahma falling down. There's history of Marj Bharat falling down. And these histories are described by Srila Prabhupada as an example. Prabhupada gives is the mother will chastise her own daughter to instruct her daughter-in-law. Her daughter is flawless, perfect, but she makes some excuse to chastise her, to show an example for her own daughter. So these great souls should never be considered to be on the ordinary conditioned soul, level of ordinary conditioned soul. And even more drastic misunderstanding. I heard recently a devotee sent me this transcript of a talk by one ISKCON so-called guru, sannyasi. And he was saying, yes, so many fall downs of great personalities. I've never fallen down, he said. This man is famous for dancing with young girls as a sannyasi. And it's interesting that he cited the example, Lord Chaitanya's Leela, of Chotar Haridas having fallen down, although there's no history in Chaitanya Charitamrita of Chotar Haridas actually falling down. But what he did was break the etiquette of the sannyasi, about one in the renounced order of life. I don't even know if Chotar Haridas was formerly a sannyasi, but he was a brahmachari in the renounced order. So he made an example of Chotar Haridas because he had gone to collect alms on the order of a senior Vaishnava to the house of a female Vaishnavini who's considered in Lord Chaitanya's associates. What was her name, Ms. Haranan? Lord Chaitanya had 3 chief associates, 3.5, and she was considered the half. But she's considered
Srabhub Damodar, Vairamananda, and Sikhi Mahiti.
Sikhi Mahiti, yes. So she's obviously Mahabhagavad, a great soul, but Lord Chaitanya wanted to make that example. No history, no question of Chotar Haridas falling down. But Lord Chaitanya wanted to show that strict example. The other was Krishna, Lord Chaitanya's servant in South India. Also no history of him falling down, but he left the association of Lord Chaitanya, who knows why. It's eternal Leela of Krishna. Probably wanted to go to preach to the Hari, what do you call those people? You still have them in South India. But
Bhattaharis.
Yeah, what is it? Bhattaharis, yeah. And Lord Chaitanya brought him back. Imagine being rescued personally by Lord Chaitanya in that way. And when he stayed with Lord Chaitanya throughout the rest of his tour, but when he got back, Lord Chaitanya instructed one of his associates, Rup Damodar or Jagadananda, that he should be sent to Mayapur to pacify Mother Sachi. So obviously not a fallen soul. But again, Lord Chaitanya showed the example how strict those in the renounced order of life have to be in their dealings with women or materialists in general. So he made an example out of them for that reason. It's just an eternal Leela of the Lord. We should never think that Chotar Haridas or Kala Krishna, Lord Chaitanya's personal associate, could ever fall into Maya. But they use that as an excuse to justify the degraded, depraved Maya of those they have posted as sannyasis or gurus in their ISKCON movement. This is the most offensive thing that they do, trying to bring Mahabhagavatas, pure devotees, down to their level to justify their own deviation and lack of Krishna consciousness.
Very nice. Thank you for those comments. Go ahead, Vishwa.
We're moving to the end of the class. I wanted Yaśodā to wrap it up, and then I'll make a couple of announcements, and we'll move towards the, unless Ram Raghava, did you have a few points you'd like to bring up before we end up the class? Ram Raghava Prabhu, please.
No, sir. That's good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Are you sure?
Class. Yes.
We always like to hear from you and all the devotees that are joining us here at the Prabhupada Disciples Association weekly class program, and having you join on the Zoom broadcast to enable other people around the world that do watch the program a chance to hear the discussion of philosophy between all of us in this presentation. Yaśodā, could you just wrap up a few comments?
Yeah, I wanted to make a brief announcement. On this program every week, there are two very nice Vaishnavas, and these are the parents of Ram Raghava Prabhu. They're fairly elderly, and they follow very nicely. They chant their rounds, they hear the Bhagavatam, they offer their foodstuffs. They're both initiated disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And it's very, very inspiring to see both of them as we see them now. So we're very appreciative of your attending all the classes. And it's very auspicious for all of us that you show such a nice example, even in your advanced stage, of Vaishnava conduct and Vaishnava behavior. And thank you for that. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Yaśodā. That was beautiful. And I feel the same way about them. And Ram Raghava too, for his participation in our program, along with all of you that are remaining steady in this attendance at these classes. And I also want to thank our media team. We're working on a very exciting project, or multiple projects in that forum. And we would like to invite other people, if you're interested in participating with us in the expansion of our preaching work globally. Remember, the internet is a very powerful tool to reach many, many people. And some people even reach hundreds of millions of people by their effective use of it. Like today, for example, here in Hamilton, it's 17 below zero, and it's a wet cold. It's not a dry cold, so it's extremely chilly. You could say it's like minus 30 degrees outside. So if you go out for 10 minutes, you'll freeze your hands. So it's impossible for us to go on the street and do chanting and book distribution. But by the use of technology, which we are effectively beginning to grasp, Vinkat, we're using this medium, we're able to reach many, many people, and thousands of people are coming to our classes. We have quite a few registered online on our YouTube channel, Prabhupada TV. And you can also join us on Facebook at Prabhupada Disciples Association. And we'll be expanding to bring a newsletter to you. We're working through that with technology problems of being able to circulate it to large numbers, but we will still bring that to you very soon. And many other programs that we're preparing to launch into the worldwide community to keep Prabhupada at the focal point of Krishna consciousness and the spreading of it in the modern world. Prabhupada is our Diksha, our Siksha Guru. Be clear, his unadulterated books are the books that we follow, and we relish the association of the members of the Prabhupada Disciples Association. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending today for the class. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Srimad Bhagavatam class, Eastern Standard Time. That's in Canada. It'll be at 10 a.m. And in the West Coast, what time is it in the West Coast, Yaśodā?
7 a.m.
7 a.m. And then you can all monitor what the time is. If you can't attend, that's all right. Just go to the Prabhupada TV YouTube, subscribe to it, please. We want more subscriptions. It makes a big difference in how our message will be propagated on YouTube. It's a very valuable thing. And we want to thank you again for
Prabhu,
attending.
quick question.
Yes, please.
How can we invite others to attend the live class? Or should they be vetted first, or should we send them?
Not necessary. Vinkat, maybe you could answer that for us.
Yeah, sure. They can go to prabhupadadisciples.com, and there's a sign up form there, so they can enter their email address and their if they want to join the WhatsApp group, phone number, and so they'll get all the meeting invitations for Zoom. So prabhupadadisciples.com, Prabhupada, prabhupadadisciples.com. Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
Narasringa, just to comment on that. Basically, you can qualify people that you're inviting by asking them, are you interested in this type of group? So that we don't get involved in controversy. We don't have anybody in the group that isn't consistent with the philosophical principles that we're expounding. So
Right,
there's no debate here about we're right, you're wrong, this and that. That goes on in Facebook and other mediums. But here we're all of the same feather. Birds of the same feather flock together. And there's unity in diversity in our group. We work together. We're a team. And this is the strength of the Disciples Association, that we have a team. It's expanding. People are stepping up to the table to help us. And by Krishna's grace, like I mentioned at the beginning of the class, by Krishna's grace and by Prabhupada's mercy, we're becoming more powerful as we move forward. The truth carries a lot of power. It carries all the power. And there's a lot of confusion, Narasringa, as you know, in the society that Prabhupada founded. And this is very unfortunate because thousands of people really don't have a proper understanding of what Prabhupada wanted, because a lot of these leaders don't read the books that Prabhupada gave us, and they don't listen to his lectures, and they don't read his letters. They don't know what to do, and therefore their disciples are blinded by it's like the blind leading the blind. So anyway, that's a little bit extra. We're a bit over time. Thank you, everybody. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vinkat, could you please bring forward the kirtan and everyone chant along? I wanted to say before you put it on, it's very interesting to note that this kirtan is a very early kirtan when Prabhupada didn't even have kartal or mridanga, Ram Raghava. He had no mridanga. So if you listen, he was using a bongo. He's playing a bongo. Now, Prabhupada is an awesome musician, as everyone knows here. He's a phenomenal musician, singer, kirtan leader, mridanga player, kartal player. He's phenomenal. But even though he didn't have a mridanga, they still made a recording with a bongo. And it's one of the most cherished recordings by all the devotees of the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur-bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur-bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, let us offer our humble obeisances to the assembled devotees. Vanchakalpa
Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha
Cha
kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
We'll see everyone tomorrow morning for Srimad Bhagavatam class.